Hey, Simply Sugar here, going live. It's the first time I'm doing this, so let's just see what happens. Put the Just in case people join in, I'm gonna start my live over on TikTok as well to give my report on Jack Smith. So let's just see if I can get any people to join. Let's see. All right, so what do we know now? Jack Smith was appointed by AG Merrick Garland in November 2022. Smith led two major DOJ probes, one on Trump's role on January 6th the Capitol siege, and another of improperly keeping classified records. Trump was indicted in mid 2023 on both investigations, marking the first time a former U.S. president faced federal charges. But after Trump won the 2024 elections, Smith dropped both cases, citing DOJ policy against charging a sitting president, and that was that, right? Wasn't it? Um, Smith's final report, which was published in January 2025, it concluded that Trump led an unprecedented criminal effort to overturn the 2020 election, despite not going to trial. Had Trump not been reelected, convictions were likely. So this live is about Jack Smith now being investigated by Donald Trump, which Donald Trump has announced. Why all of this matters is I'm simulcasting. If I'm not looking at this camera, over here is TikTok, over here is YouTube. So on August 2025, the Office of Special Counsel has opened a probe into Smith himself. He is accused of violating the Hatch Act, U.S. law that bars political tinted faction actions by federal employees. Now, we all know that this is just pomp and circumstance, that this has been done to cast doubt on whatever evidence Jack Smith may have against Donald Trump. And this is just him having his retribution of anyone who talks against him, anyone who's ever investigating him. He is using the DOJ to go after. This is part of his plan. And the timing couldn't be crazier, right? Because I understand he wants to take the shine off of what's happening with Epstein, but at the same time, you're bringing light to your other crimes. So I know that he is specifically talking to his base and people who, I guess, care about him or follow him, or they make justifications for whatever he's done. But this is the tall tale sign of a dictatorship at this point, going after people who have investigated you for the crimes that you have committed. Once you're in a powerful position, he's literally using his position as revenge. I guess it's his revenge tour. Does anyone have an opinion? Feel free to chime in. I'm looking in both directions here. But yeah, this is where we at, where a sitting president is now just going after anyone who he thinks is an enemy, and using our tax dollars to do it, right? There's other things happening in the world, like in Gaza, like in Ukraine, like here in the United States, where our groceries are going up. Procter and Gamble just released that they are raising prices on Tide, on toilet paper, on everyday household items, where we're struggling to afford, our rents and our food. Prices are going up, and it's directly related to the tariffs. Tariffs is another word for tax, an additional tax that we are incurring, period. Now, remember that the big, beautiful bill just passed, so our taxes are going up anyway. And then you add the tariffs on there. Also, have you seen these videos of people at Target and Walmart where they have taken the price tags off of everyday items, right? There's no more prices being listed on the items themselves. It's above on a board, and they can change the prices as they wish. Now, mind you, someone found a price tag on a T-shirt that said $25. The price listed above was $35. So that's a $10 increase on a cheap freaking shirt from Walmart. Walmart. School season is starting up again. What are we doing here? How can we afford our lives here? Where it's difficult to get a job. The jobs report is out, and he fired the statistician who released numbers. She's a numbers cruncher. She has no political affiliation. She might have been appointed by Biden, but she does not have an official affiliation, and she is just running the numbers. Now, it doesn't take a genius to know that a lot of people are out of work. I'm sure we all know people who are out of work at this time. Every single one of us know somebody who's been out of work and been out of work for a while. And they probably don't have health insurance and suffer from ailments, and they can't afford their medication. This is a big problem here. Like, what exactly is happening? You know, what are we going to do? We have our own Democratic leaders that have been neutered. They have no control over anything. They're unable to get anything done, anything passed. Not to mention, we don't know exactly whose side they're on. You have Cory Booker announcing, you know, we have bigger problems here, and we have people starving in Gaza. And then with the same breath, votes to send more weapons to Israel to use against the Gazans who are being starved. So you can't even trust our Democratic leaders at this point. Like, what are we going to do here? What is our next move? Are we going to continue to reelect these people who are not listening to us? Are we going to continue to move towards a Mamdani, a Bernie Sanders, an AOC that, you know, seems to have a little bit, you know, more empathy towards people? I don't know. I am not happy with our elected officials at this point. I am a Democrat. I am a liberal. And I just don't like the lying and the blatant lies, and then calling someone else out for the same thing you're doing. When we know it's all smoke and mirrors, these people are probably friends in Washington. If they're one of the same. Bernie Sanders would be just fine with me. Okay. Do you have any other? If Bernie's unavailable, because Bernie's age is the issue here, and he seems to be in great health, but he is 80 plus years old. Do you have any other favorites? Because, you know, sure, life is not promised to any of us, but, you know, like my mother used to say, at a certain age, you're living on borrowed time. Is there anyone else who you seek, or who you trust, or who has Bernie-like ideas that you would vote for? Because we need a backup plan to Bernie. And it's Gavin Newsom, Pete Buttigieg. I like Pete. I do like Pete, and you know, Gavin has a certain swagger that I like. I like that he's standing up to bullies. Did you see his recent interview where he talked about caring for his mother? His mother died by assisted suicide, and in those moments and the voicemails, you know, you can connect with Gavin because he doesn't come from money. Sure, he has plenty of it now, but he doesn't come from money, so he has something that we can relate to, right? Not to say I love all of his policies, but you're never going to find someone you connect with 100%. But I know we don't have it right now. Not in Hakeem Jeffries, not in Cory Booker, not in Chuck Schumer. I'm from the tri-state area. That's why I'm listing those people. But yeah, no, it's really crazy out here. It's really crazy out here. And it's nice to connect with people. I don't need someone to agree with me 100% of the time. I really don't. It's when people have a disagreement in ideas that new ideas are born. So I love that discourse, but I cannot deal with MAGA at all. There's no common ground there because the racism is it's a deal breaker. Does anyone else have any thoughts? So, what do you think about the investigations into Jack Smith now? Right, trying to take the shine away from whatever's happening with Epstein. What do you think about moving Ghislaine Maxwell into a, a country club for federal prisoners, basically, where they get to do gardening and yoga and work on themselves and have all these amenities when she's convicted of a horrible, horrific crime against children and women? You went to a protest this morning and met some lovely seniors who were standing in the. Let me tell you something. Seniors have been doing their thing, and I'm very proud of a lot of these seniors who are just out there and amazing. But they come from a protest background. So we're talking about seniors who are out there in the 60s and the 70s who were lending their voices. Um, but against this, I am impressed with them too, and I'm impressed because I'm tired. Right, I'm in the bed at 8:30, so I'm tired that they. I'm tired. I'm just saying I'm tired. But the fact that they have so much energy to conduct themselves this way, I'm like, what am I missing? Am I missing my second wind? I'm 50. Am I missing my second wind at this point? Because I am like, I'm done for by a certain time. We can learn a lot from older people. They have a wealth of knowledge. Where it gets into trouble when they don't see past a certain point. This is not the same world they grew up in. There's definite um, things we need to think about. We need to think about people's feelings. We need to use the right terminology. And sometimes, they get stuck in the old ways of saying things and doing things, and I don't fault them for that. But there has to be some type of growth there. Retirement, yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that. I wouldn't know anything about that. Currently, this is my second job because I can't find a second job. I actually need a second job to to support myself and my family here in New York. So, the truth is, if I could find a part-time job after my full-time job, that's goals at this point. It is goals. But right now, also, I think it's important that all our voices should be heard. People need to speak up. The more people to speak up, the more we get the word out there. Annie, I'm very afraid because with the first tariffs, when he announced the sweeping tariffs the first time, my 401k took a big hit. Not that I had a lot of money in there, because I didn't. And to be honest with you, I have a couple of loans against my 401k because I need to survive. Um, but it took a significant hit with the market fluctuation. And obviously, it's only been a couple of months, so I haven't bounced back. Um, so there's really no money in there. And on top of that, them threatening Social Security at this point, it scares me because that's money I'm going to need. If there's no Social Security, I'll never be able to retire. Never, 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 never. What's funny is that I'm looking to try to get citizenship somewhere else. So I'm Puerto Rican, and so they have this. Spain has closed their program now, but the Portuguese has their like citizenship for people if you can prove that one of your ancestors were from Portugal. A direct line, you can get citizenship. I'm actually trying to do that because I don't know if I can survive here. And trust me, I'm not well traveled at all. I've only lived here. I've traveled to a couple of states. I've been to a couple of islands, but that's as grand as it's ever gotten. I've never been to Europe. I've never been, to South America. I've never, I've never traveled there. But it's hard. It's hard that I have to think like this because I'm like, I don't want to eat dog and cat food. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I can afford it at this point. That used to be my joke. That's my joke with my husband. I'm like, I'm gonna season that dog food up so good that it's going to be delicious. I know I have a viewer over here on YouTube, a couple of viewers. If you want to comment, please. I am looking to see if anyone's commenting on that page, on the live. I don't see any messages there. I'm going to give a test message on screen to see if it seems to be popping up. But, I love connecting with people because this is very stressful for me. Now, my husband already works 2 jobs. I need a second job. Uh, my daughter is currently without health care because she falls into that mid range of you can't get Medicaid. First of all, you can't get Medicaid anyway now because of the cuts. But she makes too much to get Medicaid, but doesn't is not provided by her company. So you kind of have to pay for it. Right now, I'm doing like Amazon Medical for her. So she has some way of seeing the doctor without breaking the bank. But, like, this is where we're at. This is where we're at, struggling and, yeah, struggling, struggling. Do you think anything will come of this investigation? What is the discovery going to look like? Like, so if they investigate Jack Smith, does he get to present evidence against Donald Trump as discovery? Because he's like, well, yeah, I investigated him and this is what I found and this is what happened. Or you think this is just going to stay in like committee in the House and Senate where they're just going to waste our money and our time? Does anyone have an opinion about Jelaine being moved to a mid facility for her crimes? And did you see that Bloomberg has confirmed that Donald Trump's name was redacted from the Epstein files by federal agents? I saw a comment on a post, which was funny. They said, Donald is not on the Epstein files list. Epstein is on the Donald Trump files list, which I found funny, but I don't know if anyone else is going to find that funny. But yeah, so that's where we are now. Let's go over, let's see if I can go over some news for you. I'm about to record my evening news rundown. And trust me, I am not a big creator at all. Nowhere near being I'm not even a mid-sized creator. I'm a very small creator. And I noticed that I'm being suppressed and not pushed out. And I know that some other left-leaning people who like Chasing Oz, and Hawk, all have been suppressed. I think Chasing Oz actually lost her main account. So it's just very interesting to watch how this is ebbing and flowing. Have you noticed differences in your FYP for anyone watching? And I'm going to continue to post because I'm stubborn. And if 5 people see my video, then 5 people see my video. That's how I feel about it. I'm not going to let my voice get muted. Not by me. They can choose to do what they want, but this is why I stream across many platforms. Because it's important. It's more important now than ever. Now that CBS has acquiesced, ABC, NBC, CNN, like they're all afraid. Did you hear that PBS is done? It's because of the budget cuts. that this administration has imparted on NPR and PBS. PBS is shuttering. It's winding down. It's going away. Sesame Street, other Reading Rainbow, all those educational programs are just, we're in a phase of our life where public broadcasting is not a thing because of the budgetary cuts. They're not getting enough donations. Yeah, so that's where we're at. We're at, an investigation into Jack Smith now. I'm wondering if we're going to have discovery. I would love discovery. It would be very interesting. Does anyone want to give their opinion? I think you're allowed to join. If anyone wants to join this live and chit chat, you're more than welcome to join the live. Join the live and give your opinion. Don't necessarily have to agree with me, but I won't be disrespected either. So if you want to join the live, you can, but we're not going to be disrespectful. And I understand once you get on here and put your face and your voice and your opinion out there, is out there for other people to see. And I understand that we live in a difficult time of when you do that, that your friends, family, corporations are watching. The internet is forever. But we can all give our opinions in a way that will not hopefully harm us. But it doesn't matter anymore. What matters? Because now, you know, your bosses are allowed, to evangelize you. They can say, come to my church and believe in what I believe in, and then that leads to, well, you're not a Christian, so, you know, you can't you can't work here anymore. You can't get that raise. You can't get, that bonus. You can't get anything. But that works the other way too. Say you're a Christian working for a Muslim company, it could be like, can you want to come to the mosque? No, yeah, you're not going to get that promotion. This is where we're leading to with all these rights being taken away. It works both ways. And I think that people don't understand that when they remove certain protections and laws, it's also removing protection from yourself as well. People see it as one sided. It really isn't. Because look at what happened with Roe. Her situation was a privacy thing. It wasn't just strictly about abortion, it was about privacy. Now that you've taken away that Roe versus Wade, those privacies are gone now. There's, it's done. It's very, very scary out there. Well, I'm gonna end this live on TikTok, um, and hopefully I'll go live again soon. Okay, let's end this live on YouTube and start again.